Hello everyone, and welcome to my Days of Our Lives official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Chanel and Johnny admit ruinous news. At Marlena and John's place, Marlena joined Brady as he awaited for Tate to wake up. Brady believed Tate had been drilled up in his room to avoid discipline. When Marlena made a comment about Teresa dragging Holly home, Brady reiterated that while he did not agree with Teresa's approach, he and Teresa were of one mind when it came to Tate and Holly. Marlena responded with a which urged Brady to ask her what she really allowed. Marlena suggested Brady's response had lower to do with Tate and further to do with Brady's passions about Tate's mama. Brady claimed he and Teresa had agreed to be stable parents for Tate. He admitted to Marlena that he would had a moment with Teresa, but she had eventually chosen Alex. Marlena asked Brady what he wanted. Brady said what he wanted did not count, and Marlena assured him that his passions always signified. Brady thanked Marlena for her support but demanded to change the subject. Marlena backed off and reminded Brady that she was there for him whenever he demanded her. Brady thanked her again, and Marlena left for work. At Xander and Sarah's apartment, the couple snuggled on the settee. They compactly bandied Maggie's fire with that miserable cretin Constantine, also turned to happier talk with their impending espousal. They kissed and looked forward to the event as a positive moment for the family. Sarah said she was going over to Maggie's to prepare marriage assignations, which reminded Xander of the discussion he would had with Maggie. He commended to Sarah that Maggie believed Victor had been so hard on Xander because he'd seen so much of himself in Xander. Sarah took Xander's hand and comforted him that Victor had loved him. Way deep down, Xander mused. Sarah reminded Xander of the time Victor had made him CEO of Titan. Only to replace me with Philip, Xander riposted. Xander theorized that Victor had only used him to do the dirty work Victor did not want to admit he was able of doing, including taking Kristen's baby and passing her off as Sarah's child. Xander expressed deep remorse for his conduct during the baby switch, and Sarah likewise rued keeping the verity about Victoria from Xander originally. Sarah claimed Xander and Victor's relationship had evolved for the better. Xander wondered why, if Victor had watched for him, he had not included Xander in his will. Sarah clarified that Victor had snubbed up most of the family, and Victor had only left Alex in the will to make amends for denying Alex as a son. Sarah hoped that she and Victoria had helped fill the void for Xander. He kissed her and verified that she and Victoria were each he demanded. Sarah hesitantly raised the subject of inviting Xander's mama to the marriage. Sarah did not want Xander to have the same regrets about mending walls with his mama that he would had with Victor. Xander allowed. It also said there might be another way to reach his mama. Latterly, Xander ended a call with someone and promised the person a forthcoming assignation in the correspondence. When he hung up, Xander told Sarah he would talk with his aunt. Xander's mama had supposedly communicated her family to ask for plutocrat just many months prior. While Xander's aunt did not have a phone number, she was suitable to give Xander an address for his mama. After Sarah had left, Xander smiled and talked to Victoria over her crib. He informed his son that she might soon be meeting her grandma cook. Noting the little girl's evident excitement, he soughed and said, "That makes one of us." At the karaoke's manse, Bonnie asked Teresa how convoying the hop had gone. Teresa began raving about catching Tate in a hostel room with that neurotic little fabricator, Holly. Bonnie supposed that effects had not gone well for anyone the former night. Just also, Alex entered and kissed Teresa. She extended her hand with the engagement ring on it, and Alex corrected that one thing had gone veritably right. Bonnie reflected on the huge gemstone, but else held back her disapprobation as the couple explained they had gotten engaged the night ahead. Teresa excused herself, and Bonnie asked Alex if he'd told his father the news. Alex looked back at Victor's portrayal and verified that they'd had a talk. Bonnie clarified that she meant Justin. Alex believed Justin wouldn't be open to the news, and he streamlined Bonnie on his fight with Justin about Teresa. Bonnie echoed Justin's enterprises, that Teresa was manipulating Alex and that she still had a strong connection with Brady. Alex defended Teresa and dismissed her relaxation with Brady as an attempt to make him jealous. He reiterated that he was a big boy who did not need Justin's protection. Bonnie reminded Alex that he'd formerly been Justin's little boy, and Justin still had immense love in his heart for Alex. She challenged Alex to admit that he could do better than Teresa, just as their sir entered the room. Bonnie tried to smooth effects over by felicitating Teresa on how good she looked. "Have I told you how embarrassed you look right now?" Teresa shot back. She blasted Bonnie for trash-talking her behind her back, but Bonnie claimed that she and Justin were being defensive of Alex. Bonnie awkwardly tried to change the subject by mentioning that marriage bells were in the air for Sarah and Xander, too. Teresa made a snide comment about Xander's side of the aisle being light on guests. Bonnie mentioned that Sarah wanted to invite Xander's mama to the marriage. Teresa looked terrified at the prospect. Bonnie explained that Sarah had wanted Victoria to meet her grandmother and had wanted to give Xander an occasion to make amends with his mama. Teresa had heard the woman was a raging rummy and strained concern about Victoria being around someone like that. With a pointed look at Teresa, Bonnie suggested, "Perhaps she's changed, like you." Teresa also brought up the possibility of Xander's mama causing a scene at the marriage. Bonnie joked that their family was used to big scenes, especially at marriages. Alex asked Teresa why she sounded so abstracted with Xander's mama. Teresa attributed her concern to what had just happened with Constantine and advised about the troubles of inviting long-lost musketeers and family into their home. Alex and Bonnie sounded to accept the explanation, and Alex smoothly said that he would formally set up his long-lost relative. Bonnie departed the room, and Alex kissed Teresa and also left. When alone, Teresa goggled pensively at Victor's portrayal. Latterly, Teresa was sitting in the living room and belting coffee when Sarah arrived. Bonnie warmly saluted Sarah, and the two sat down across from Teresa to work on the marriage assignations. Sarah madly told Bonnie that they'd need one further invitation for Xander's mama. Teresa choked on her coffee at the news. At the basic black services, Brady allowed about his night with Teresa. Alex intruded Brady's study, and they compactly bandied the events at the hop. Brady wondered why Teresa had not gotten back in touch with him. Alex said her lack of contact was Alex's fault. He smiled and blazoned his and Teresa's engagement to a shocked and perturbed Brady. At Paulina's apartment, Chanel squinched and cried out as she gripped her stomach. And terrified Paulina and Johnny asked if she was okay. Chanel started to answer, but doubled over in pain. She sat down and tried to brush off the pain as cramps. Paulina suggested Chanel demanded commodity to eat and made a move toward the kitchen. Chanel suddenly screamed in pain again, and Johnny claimed she'd go to the sanitarium with him. At the sanitarium, Mark approached and worried Leo, who was still reeling from his battle with Diana. When Mark put a hand on Leo's shoulder, Leo flashed back to seeing Mark shirtless in Horton Town Square. Leo explained that he'd been visiting with his mama, who was in captivity. Mark said he was sorry, but Leo clarified that he and his mama did not have the stylish relationship. Leo had wanted to have a cathartic moment of exculpation with her, but she had managed to make him feel hugely empty and miserable. Mark hugged an emotional Leo, who apologized for slobbering each over him. Mark smiled and said he would been told he'd a good bedside manner, and Leo realized that Mark was a croaker. The two introduced themselves to each other and joked about Mark's name being the same as a television croaker. Leo said he would dated a croaker formerly, who was aged and married to a woman. He apologized for giving TMI and also let Mark know that he wouldn't be coming on to him presently, since Mark had verified he was not gay. Mark remonstrated, "Did I say that?" An intrigued Leo asked if Mark's claim had not been true. He pondered if Mark might be bi or if he'd endured a crazy night in council. Before Mark could answer, Johnny and Paulina rushed in with Chanel. They frenetically streamlined Mark on Chanel's symptoms, and Mark hastened them back to an examination room.